students, I'm back with another interesting session, and as you can read on the board, I'm going to discuss 5 simple and easy steps to score the perfect 360 out of 360. Yes, definitely, as the topic sounds interesting, the content is definitely far more interesting, so stay connected. And before proceeding or continuing the lecture, I would love to request that till now, if you haven't subscribed to Infinity Learn YouTube channel, do consider subscribing to Infinity Learn YouTube channel by Sri Chaitanya, so that whenever we go live, you also get notified, and for that to happen, you got to hit the bell icon. So do consider subscribing to Infinity Learn YouTube channel, and do not forget to hit the bell icon, and also give me a thumbs up, right, so that this video can reach up to a larger audience and more students can get benefit. Next, yes, this video is in fact part of a very important and fresh series, the Chuck Day series, where we provide everyday videos on biology, considering both botany, zoology, physics, chemistry and mathematics with respect to your coming NEET 2022 and JEE Mains 2022. So do consider subscribing and hitting the bell icon so that whatever videos are going to come tomorrow and even day after, you will be get notified every time. So now next is the topic. Let us talk about the topic for what I am here. So students, as you can read here, 360 out of 360 in NEET. This is something that we are targeting. This is something that you people are targeting and you want to achieve. And for that, I am here to help you out in achieving this perfect 360 out of 360 score. Right? Both biology means 11th class and 12th class biology textbook, right? The strategy is simple for botany as well as zoology. Now students, as I told you, and you also saw on the thumbnail, that we will be talking about 5 steps. What we will be talking about, these 5 steps, these 5 simple steps, these 5 easy steps, right? Now you must be wondering, ma'am, why are you calling these steps easy or simple? Is it scoring 360 out of 360? Is that simple? Is that really that simple? So listen this carefully students, steps are actually simple, right? Getting 360 is a bit tricky, definitely, but if you follow these 5 steps thoroughly in a proper sequence, which I am going to provide you in this lecture, I can assure you that if you are sincere, you follow these 5 steps, that too in a perfect sequence that I am going to right now discuss over here in the coming few minutes, yes, it is possible to secure, to get the perfect 360 out of 360 score in NEET biology in coming NEET 2022. And as I told you, the steps are simple. That means almost everybody know about it. Your teacher might have told, your guide might have told, or maybe your seniors who have already cleared the exam might have told you, right? You are somewhat aware about all these 5 steps. Then what am I going to do in this session? Good question that should come to your mind. Now listen, I am going to explain you what exactly these 5 steps mean that most of you are unaware. You know it, but you do not understand, and you do not know what exactly you got to do when you are following these 5 steps, right? So first of all, I will explain you what in detail what you really got to do in these 5 steps, right? And secondly, although the steps are easy, but many a times, in spite of being aware of these steps, students still can't make it, still can't get that 360 out of 360. And do you know why? Very simple answer. That's because they do not follow it in a perfect sequence. Right. So knowing these 5 simple steps is important, and following them in a particular sequence is far more important. So you got to know what you have to do. And secondly, you should know, more importantly, how you got to do it. So in this class, I am here just not to give you the information, just not to throw the information on you, but to help you in arrange the information, but to help you in arrange these steps in the perfect sequence so that you can not only understand what you got to do, but you also can follow it in the right way, in the correct sequence that will ultimately help you to score the perfect 360 out of 360 in coming NEET exam, NEET 2022, right? So this is an amazing video in the Chak De series, right? So Chak De NEET 2022 and Chak De NEET 2022 biology paper, that means get 360 out of 360 using these 5 simple steps. Now, first of all, I will tell you what are these simple 5 steps, these easy 5 steps, and then I will explain you in detail. And notice, while I am explaining you these steps, that what exactly you got to do in them, simultaneously at that time, I'm going to provide numbers over them, right? So first, for example, we will start with this one, then this one, then this one, and this one. So you have to understand as well as you need to remember. So which one was the first one and which one was the second, third, fourth, and fifth. So first simple and the first easy step that you got to do is you need to attend the classes regularly and make class notes. Now you must be wondering, what is new in that? There's nothing new in that, but there is something new, that is in understanding the importance of attending regular class and making class notes. So you people know you got to do it in order to get, even in order to get selected. In order to secure a rank, a seat in a medical college, you got to do this. But why you got to do this? Why you need to attend the classes regularly? And why you need to make class note? The importance of both these things I will discuss in the coming few minutes. The second thing, please remember the order. The second thing is you got to read the NCRT thoroughly. You might have heard from your teachers that NCRT is your Bible, it is your Gita, it is your Quran. This is something that you must be listening repeatedly from your teachers, right? So they are true. That's true. That's a true fact, because if you go and look at the stats, use the previous year paper, right? Previous year questions are actually the best guide that you can get in this world, that can help you to keep a check on whether you are on the right track or not, and they help you to understand what exactly you got to do in this particular chapter, be it biology, physics or chemistry. Importance of PYQ is same in all the subjects, right? Including maths also if you are aiming for JEE. Now, reading NCRT. 2 things. You all know reading NCRT is important because more than 90% stats says that, okay? And you can check out, if you don't believe me, go and check out the previous year questions, stats chapter wise, and you will realize. And forget about everything. Do the smallest and easiest thing, right? If you think that checking the stats or making the stats of PYQs related to each and every topic of each and every chapter, it will be a tedious job, then I will give you one very simple tip. What you want to do is check out the NEET 2021 paper. Yes, what you should do, check out the NEET 2021. Check out the latest NEET 2021 paper and see the biology section in that, right? And try to map each and every biology question that was asked by NTA in NEET 2021 with your NCRT textbook, and I'm pretty sure you will realize more than 95% questions were directly from NCERT. NTA did not even change the sequence of the words while picking the sentences from the NCERT textbook. So yes, the importance is very huge, right? And you can realize by checking or by mapping the NEET 2021 biology questions with your NCERT textbook. So when I'm going to explain this one, I will exactly tell you how to read NCERT, when to read NCERT, why it is important. I have already discussed the importance of NCERT, but how you got to do it, right? Exactly how many times you should do it, what is the exact timing you should do it, that I will discuss. Next is practice. Yes, again, the third step is the practice. Again, you must be thinking, ma'am, what is so new in that? Correct. Nothing new in that. But new is what you got to practice, how you got to practice, and how will you remember what all you practiced. For example, in the entire preparation for NEET exam, right, you have studied 11th class, you cleared 12th class subject. So talking just about biology, roughly if you are a serious student and if you practice all the questions that are provided by your respective institute or your teachers, as well as you practice some of the reference book, so roughly 2000 to 3000 questions you must have practiced in the whole preparation of a 2-year, right? So the question is, how will you remember what you have practiced? And how will you revise it just before your exam? That's the trick. That's what something you need to understand. You need to hear from me. This is going to be new in this one. Fourth, not the last, but the second last is the fourth step, where I will talk about what self-notes are. So this is something a little fancy right now, okay? So most of you might be aware or might not, right? Two things I will discuss here. What exactly self-note means and why you need self-note. Two things we will discuss, and I am pretty sure after explaining you the importance of short notes, everyone will start making it because they are that important for your coming NEET 2022. Next, this is the last step. This is the last step. You got to make note of your mistakes. Very important. If you continue making the same mistake again and again repeatedly in every test regularly, then that mistake can actually get converted into a sin. That means that can become a reason because of which you might not be able to either get 360 out of 360 in biology, or you might not be able to get a seat. You might not be able to crack the coming NEET 2022. So noting down the mistake and making it sure that you do not repeat it is very, very important, and I will throw more light when I will come on this step. So this is in brief what I am going to do in this class. So I hope this much is pretty clear to all of you that what exactly we are going to do over here. Hello HP. Okay, you better use your name or let me know what exactly is your name. So you are using the name of your laptop, I guess. Okay, so these are the 5 simple steps, 5 easy steps. Now you must be knowing why these steps are easy, but the tougher thing is what exactly these steps mean, what you got to do and how you got to do. Let us see them. Yeah, so now let us talk in detail about each and every step. So first step, please remember students, as I told you, you got to remember the sequence as well as the detail. So the first thing that you got to do is attend your classes. The first thing that you got to do is attend your classes regularly and make class notes. Let me throw light on this. Okay, so what attending class regularly is, everybody know. I don't have to say anything in it. But the point is, why you need? Why you need? This is the question. Why can't I skip some of my classes? Why do I have to attend class for each and every chapter of biology? Why can't I skip some classes for a chapter? For example, my teacher is teaching me anatomy in flowering plant, the chapter number 6 of your 11th class NCRT biology textbook. So what if I miss a secondary growth topic? I have attended all the lectures, just one I skipped. So don't do that, right? This is going to cost you heavily on your D-day, on your exam day. How? Listen, let us talk in little detail about why you need to attend the classes regularly, and you should not skip even a single one. So because of, like, if you're really very sick, you're unable to attend, unable to listen, that's a different case, but then you got to take the backup classes. You got to clear the backlog. You should not avoid it. So jumping into the importance. So see students, although I have also discussed, and most of you know, that more than 90% paper directly comes from NCRT. That means even an NTA does not even changes the sequence of the words, exact lines of NCRT, they just copy paste, right? So it is very obvious and very easy for students to think that when NTA itself is giving more than 90% paper, and talking about the NEET 2021, more than 95% was directly from NCRT without changing the sequence also. So in that case, it is quite easy that these thoughts come in your mind that NTA is directly asking, right? So why do I need a teacher? Why do I need a guide? And why do I need to attend the classes regularly, right? So this maths was love, but PCB in 11th okay, but PCB in 11th how to read NCRT properly. So my dear, maths was love. So I would really appreciate if you can give me your name, right? Let me know your name. Okay, let me know your name. Okay, these many hands you have given me, but let me know your name. So stay connected, and when I'm going to come on the step 2, you will understand how to do that. Just wait for a few minutes. Okay. So it is quite easy that students get distracted. They might get this wrong idea, this wrong notion that I don't need a teacher, I don't need a guide, I am enough, I can understand, I can read English, I know how to read English, I have been doing this from since last 10 to 12 years, right? So why do I need a teacher to read or understand biology when NTA itself is asking questions directly from NCRT without changing the sequence? So this is a very obvious question that could come. Sure, Vakas, okay. If I'm reading it wrong, please let me know. If I'm pronouncing it wrong, let me know. So my dear students, here is the answer. If you are also, or if you also belong to that category of students who believe that you don't need a good teacher, you don't need a good guide to understand biology, then this is for you. See students, the fact, I will straight talk on the facts. I will not give you some fancy explanation. I will straight talk on the facts. And the fact is, each and every line, listen this very carefully, each and every chapter, each and every paragraph of NCRT is not directly written by a single author. Although you have NCRT, there an author name is written, but try to understand this fact students, each and every chapter is inspired by several other books, several other authors, right? And I'm talking about single chapter. So none of the single chapter is written by a single author. The text, the paragraphs of each and every chapter of NCRT has been either directly or indirectly extracted from certain renowned books of national and international standards. That means even when you read a single chapter like a living world and a complicated chapters of like genetics, molecular genetics, ecology, etc. So physiology, definitely, right? So when you read these chapters, each and every chapter, the reflection you can see, the reflection of mind you can see, right? So several authors, mind of several authors has been used to write a single chapter. Yes, so there's not a single author of your NCRT but several authors, and the text of NCRT, the 38 chapters, has been directly or indirectly inspired by several other books. So these are not simply 38 chapters, they are actually knowledge of 38 into X books, 38 into X authors, right? So now try to understand how complex the NCRT is. When several authors are going to write a single textbook, or considering two right now for 11th and 12th, both, right? So these two textbooks of NCRT has been written directly or indirectly by several authors. Now understand, when there will be several authors, just like several people, several minds, so definitely the language will be complicated, the sentences will be complex. So note this, students, conclusion is each and every chapter, and instead I should also say that each and every paragraph of each and every chapter is written in a complicated way. It is not a simple English that you can just read it and get it. No, it is tough. You need a teacher who can read in between the line and can make you understand that this is exactly what this sentence means, what this para mean in this particular chapter. You need a teacher. You yourself can't do it alone, because if you start sitting and doing it, you can do it, but that will take a very long time. And in that time, how much you will give to understand that particular line or particular para or particular chapter, you might miss out practicing your physics and chemistry. How will you manage them? You need a teacher to help you in understanding those complex lines. Hello Shashank. Hello Rohit. Good evening. Good evening. चलिए आगे बात करते हैं. So I hope this much is clear to all of you, that why you need a teacher and why you need to attend the classes regularly, because without that you won't be able to understand the lines. And there must be some of the very smart students, don't take it otherwise, but this is general, we all are human and we can get that idea that okay, there are 38 chapters, right? So just 38 chapters, I can mug up the lines and I can crack the exam. I can get 360 out of 360, because more than 95% paper in NEET 2021 also came directly from NCRD. So how hard it is to remember the text of 38 chapters, just these two books? It is hard. Why it is hard? Because see students, it is not a novel, it is not a story that you can remember each and every, like each and every character was introduced when, each and every character did what. It is not a story that you can remember. These 38 chapters are not part of a story. There are thousands of concepts in it. So mugging up the concept is not so easy. You can mug up for a day, for a week, for a month, but you can't mug up straight for 2 years, and you can sit and give your exam. And not to forget, it is not only biology, but physics and chemistry is also going to be asked in your paper. How much you can mug up? So mugging up is not an option, because you cannot rely on your mugged up knowledge, but you can definitely rely on a knowledge that you have acquired after understanding it conceptually. So students, you need a teacher to read in between the line, to explain you a particular para, a particular chapter, and also will help you in clearing the concept. When your concept is clear, it becomes far easy for remembering the concept as well as facts and retaining them till your D-Day, till your exam day. So you need a teacher. You need to attend the class regularly so that you can understand, so that you can retain for a longer period of time, at least till your exam date, right? So I hope my kids, till now you all must be clear that why you need to attend class regularly, why you need a good teacher, right? Now, this point is in fact clear. I hope. If it is not, let me know in the chat section. Yes, Rohit, if you got 340, see, everybody note what Rohit is saying. In 2021, his bio score was 340. That means getting a 360 is not a rocket science, right? It is easy. But Rohit, believe me, if you follow these 5 steps, first of all, you need to understand what these 5 steps are thoroughly, and you got to follow it in sequence. I promise you, Rohit, you'll be able to get that. The difference of that 20 marks, you will be able to cover it, right? So, hello Arima, good evening. Now, who's next? Akash. Good evening, Akash. Yes. But this time you will not miss. Don't worry. Don't worry, Rohit. Just get connected. Just stay. Be connected and try to understand what exactly I'm trying to explain you. And I can assure you, Rohit, after listening to me, you will understand that where you were lacking and how you can fill that gap of 20 marks this year in this coming NEET 2022. चलिए आगे बात करते हैं मेरे प्यारे बच्चों। अब बात करते हैं इसकी इम्पोर्टेंस की कि आपको क्लास नोट्स बनाने की क्या ज़रूरत है। Why do you need to make class notes, right? Class notes क्या है? Class notes is simply, for example, I am your botany teacher. I am teaching something. Whether it is an online class or an offline class, you not watch or listen class just like a spectator, just like sitting and just listening as if some movie is being displayed. No, my dear students. What a teacher is writing on a board. Listen this very, very, very clearly. Listen this very, very clearly. Whatever a teacher tries to explain and write on the board is the extract and gist of the knowledge, understanding and imagination of a particular concept that a particular teacher has acquired during his whole teaching experience, during his or her whole teaching experience, right? So, the class notes actually give you more clear understanding of the topic that is given in your NCRT. Now, also note one important point, you all will be able to relate it, that many a times in chapters of NCRT, there are topics where information is given like haphazard without any proper sequence. And NCRT has just written something, right? It do makes meaning, but it do not make a proper sense or a proper meaning if you read it directly. You need a guide, you need a teacher, and you need teacher's class note to understand that particular topic of a particular chapter where the information is not given in a particular or an accurate sequence, right? For example, I can relate right now, the one that is coming in my mind is especially the one in your human physiology, especially the blood clotting. If you remember, the whole sequence is opposite. So if you got to understand it from your own, if you read it for first time, you will be confused from where to start, right? So similarly, there are many concepts like this. There are many topics like this where the sequence is very haphazard and you need a teacher and the guidance and the class notes, because in the class, the teachers tries to explain you the concept given in your NCRT in a far better sequence, in a far better way, where you can not only understand it but also retain it for a longer period of time. Hence, you need to make the class notes so that you can understand the topic clearly. So, I hope students, the first step is pretty clear to all of you. Wish you all the best, Rohit, for your Delhi college. I guess you are going for the counseling. All the best. Next, I request all my other students also, please wish Rohit all the best. Next is what, students? Next step is read NCRT. Yeah, you must be thinking, what is new in that? New is how to read NCRT, when to read NCRT. So, see, my dear students, after taking a lecture, for example, today, I taught you what a long distance transport is. You remember, it is one of the conceptual and a little tough topic under transport in plant, right? So in transport and plant, today you took my class, I explained you how long distance transport take place, or in today's class I explained you how xylem to the leaf xylem. So what is this? Long distance transport of water and mineral molecules, right? So for example, today's lecture was on this, and I tried to explain you that entire section, that entire topic, with the help of my imagination, with the help of my sequence, with the help of my class notes that I drew on the board or wrote on the board, right? So after attending, after listening, after copying the notes the way you want to, okay, that's something personal, the way you wanted to note down, you did that. Now immediately after the class you should go and read NCRT. Listen, if you read NCRT before I teach you, you can do it, but you won't be able to remember it. So I'm not saying don't do that, but I'm saying if you do it before reading, before attending the class, you might not be able to understand this 100%. So be ready for that. Be ready that yes, I am studying this topic before ma'am has taught me in the class. So definitely I won't be able to grab it or grasp it 100%, but at least I will try to get some insight of it, or some idea I will take before starting the class. So this is in fact a good habit. You can do it. Before taking the class, you can go give a reading to the NCRT topic that is going to be discussed in the class. It is a good habit. You can do it. But be prepared, you won't be able to understand it 100%. Right? Now more important is, after taking the class, after understanding the entire topic, long distance transport, after understanding, after copying the notes, after taking the class notes, I mean, you got to read the topic again. Yes? So reading the NCRT topic after attending the class is far more important than reading it before. So reading is before is optional. If you do it, very good. But reading after attending the class is of utmost importance, because two reasons. First, you know that NCRT is the Bible, right? So directly from NCRT lines the NTA can ask question, right? So reading NCRT is very important. And secondly, my dear students, if you will try to read the NCRT just after the lecture, you will understand how much you understood the lecture. For example, your teacher was very good. She explained or he explained everything, like put his or her effort, right? Everything she or he did in the class. But still, if you were not able to understand, there can be a reason that you might not be that much attentive. You might be in some other world of imagination. Maybe you were distracted, right? So there can be a reason because of which you did not understand. And there can be another possibility as well, that the teacher might not be able to explain you that accurately. Maybe you need another teacher, or maybe you need more attention from the teacher. So when you go and read NCRT, you come to know where exactly you are standing. Where exactly you are standing in that particular topic. Where exactly you are standing. Very important, right? So after attending the class, after taking the class notes, very important, read each and every line, each and every para of that particular topic or of that particular chapter immediately. It will give you a feeling and a confidence. Yes, I know this topic, and I have 100% confidence that any question, if it asked from this particular topic in my coming NEET examination, I'm going to crack it. I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it, right? So you need to maintain or get this confidence. So reading NCRT after taking class is very, very important. One, okay? So reading NCRT just after attending class. Next, one more. There's one more place or a sequence or where you need to read NCRT is every time before your test. Every time before your test, right? For example, test is a topic based, or a test is something where entire chapter is going to come, or test is something like 2 chapters will come of biology, or 3 will come, or 5 will come. It depends upon during the whole year you are standing or giving that particular test or a mock test at what time, right? So whichever test, if you get an opportunity, if you get a little time, always consider giving a reading to your NCRT. Obviously, when you are going to read it for the first time, after attending the very first class of that particular topic, you might find it little difficult to understand it, right? Or you might take a little more time. But once you are done with the first reading, you know exactly which are the words, which are the line where you need more attention. So when you are preparing for your test, right, when you are reading this NCRT again, second or third time, maybe fourth time, and if fifth time you are on the exact right track. If you are reading it for the fifth time, this is like heaven feeling, believe me, right? So at that time, you might not take exactly the same time you took in the first time, right? So your time of revising or reading the NCRT will decrease because you know exactly the areas and the point where you need to pay attention, because you might have highlighted or written somewhere on the short notes or the sticky notes somewhere. So you know where you need to focus, which is the information or concept you might or you tend to forget every time, right? So it will become easy, it will become quite easy. So daily reading is important. This is what Wakas is saying. Excellent. Yes, this is definitely going to be a highly beneficial session for everyone, as Sunil said, right? Next. So every time before test, you must consider reading it. Why? Because not to forget, several times I have repeated in the class that your NTA is asking more than 90% questions directly from NCRT, right? So you got to read the lines, the paragraphs, the pages of NCRT regularly, so you can retain it, right? Because you know, students, NEET exam is a speed game. You have to take minimum time in order to solve the question. If you will take minimum time to solve questions in biology, you will get a far more time to solve your physics and chemistry questions. So you really need to be quick when it comes to biology. So if a question is directly from NCRT without changing the sequence, where you really don't have to put your mind, or you don't have to analyze, or you don't have to apply the concept, at that time in those questions you got to save the time. You got to solve it just instantaneously. And how will you solve it instantaneously? Only when you remember it so well. And in order to remember it so well, in order to retain that information, you got to read those lines again and again. So the best way is, first of all, read it after your class, right? And every time before giving or before sitting in a test, do consider reading in, or at least do consider giving a glance on the lines and pages of the NCRT. It is going to be extremely beneficial. Believe me, right? I can write it and give it to you. So क्या जाता है, एक बार कोशिश करके तो देखो, try it at least once for 2 or 3 or like minimum 5 tests. You try this thing and you can see, I can guarantee you will see there's an increase in your marks, significant increase in your marks. So I hope, students, now you understood how you got to read, when you got to read, especially when you got to read is very important, and how many times you're going to read. So whenever you're going to give or read NCRT before your test, it will become a very good revision strategy, very good revision. So whenever you're going to do it again and again, what it is? It is revision. So revision is not something you need to do specifically or differently, or just after your whole syllabus is completed or just before your exam. Revision is not like that. Revision is a continuous process. You got to do it along the whole journey, right? So every time you will read it or go through the NCRT text or have just glance, सिर्फ एक बार देख भी लोगे तो भी आपके revision का part बन जाएगा. Very important, right? चलिए next बात करते हैं student third step की. Again, step बहुत easy है. The step is very easy, right? Very common. Must have heard about it from your parents also, from your guides, teachers, seniors. Practice, practice, practice makes man perfect. Practice will lead to great heights. Practice will make you perfect. Practice will get you the perfect score, 360 out of 360 in biology, right? So see, students, practice is important. But what to practice, when to practice, and how to extract the learning that you got from the practice is very important. So यही कुछ चीज़ें हैं. These are the few things that I will discuss with you right now. See over here. So what you got to practice? There are multiple resources. There are multiple resources that are available in the market. So everything is not important. If you go and try to do everything in the world available in order to crack NEET exam, you will be an idiot. Yes, mark my word. Don't do that, right? So in order to crack such a competitive exam like NEET, you got to know what you need to practice. Practicing is definitely important, but what you need to practice, the understanding of what is important, what is relevant in order to score, in order to secure marks or this 360 perfect score, this is very important. What you need to practice, what you need to practice, right? So these are the most important and crucial things or the resources that you need to practice. So first step was taking the classes, right? So taking the classes, there is no substitute to it. You take it online, take it offline, but you got to get a good guide. You get to get a good teacher that can guide you, right? So after understanding the concept, after understanding each and every line of NCRT, the next step is practice. Now, what you should practice? First of all, please follow the sequence. It will be highly beneficial for you. Please follow the sequence. It will be highly beneficial for you. So it's not that few thoughts came in my mind randomly and I wrote these things. No. A lot of understanding, experience and imagination went into it, right? So please try to understand why I am trying to understand or why I am trying to put these points one after the another, because they hold meaning. First, the first thing that you got to practice is PYQs. Everybody knows what are PYQs. These are the previously asked questions. What are PYQs? Previously asked questions. See students, if I talk about NEET, if you know and if you do not, please enlighten yourself. NEET started from 2013. That was the first year where NEET started. Before that, it used to be AIPMT. Till 2012, it was AIPMT, All India Equal Test, right? So from 2013 to 2021, this is the latest NEET exam, right? So in between also, few changes took place, but you can consider that NEET actually started from 2013 and the latest NEET exam was held in 2021, right? And many a times the exam got cancelled also, and many a time due to some or the other reason, NTA conducted NEET exam in the same year multiple times. That means more than once in specific states or regions, right? Now, PYQs are definitely important, but I have seen from my experience, most of the students do not understand which PYQs, which years are important from them. So right now, listen this very carefully, very carefully. PYQs of NEET exam are important because you are giving NEET exam. You are not giving AIPMT exam, you are giving NEET exam. So PYQs of NEET are important. That means all the questions that NTA has asked from all the 38 chapters of biology from 2013 to 2021 are important for you, are relevant for you. I repeat my words, are relevant for you. You must be thinking, why these are only relevant? So see students, NCRT books gets revised, right? After a certain period of time, regularly, these people who are responsible for making NCRT, they revise them, right? So before 2013, another NCRT was there, right? From 2013, another NCRT is being followed. So all the PYQs that were asked before 2013 were based on old NCRT, right? So you must be reading or you get books related to like 30 years of AIPMT or 32 years of AIPMT. So please understand, whatever the questions they are giving, they are given in each and every chapter that are beyond or before 2013, they are based on the text of that NCRT, which is right not relevant or not available, and right now also not there in your syllabus. So your current NCRT, your latest NCRT, your updated NCRT do not hold those lines, those text on which the examination body asked question previous to 2013. So how will you be able to crack those questions, or how will you be able to answer those questions based on that knowledge of NCERT which is not present right now in the latest updated version, right? So update yourself, NCERT has already updated itself. Now you got to update yourself and start practicing the relevant PYQs from 2013 to 2021. And not to forget, students, PYQs actually keep you on the track. They keep you, first of all, practice relevant PYQs, right? Second, PYQs keep you on track. They keep a check, right? So for example, you understood, you took the class, you understood, you took the class notes, you read the entire NCERT, you are clear with each and every line and word of NCERT, and then you start practicing PYQ. So when you practice PYQ, you understand, you will come to know that yes, I am able to solve these questions. So these are the questions that NTA has asked in the previous year, and similar to this, these questions will be asked in your coming NEET 2022 exam, right? So if you are able to crack the previously asked questions, if you are able to solve the previously asked questions of a particular topic, of a particular chapter, that definitely means that yes, even the question related to this particular topic you will be able to crack, you will be able to get, you will be able to solve in the NEET 2022 as well. So the previous year questions actually help you to know whether you are putting your efforts in the right direction or not. If you are unable to solve them, that means you need to work hard. You need to either go through the class again, notes again, and NCERT again, right? And one more very important thing, now listen this thing, very, very important, that when you are practicing PYQs, make it a habit to make a list, chapter-wise list as well as topic-wise list. List of what? This is a very important practice, students. So whenever you are practicing or solving the PYQs of a particular chapter, try, if you are good on computer, laptop, make an Excel, prepare an Excel sheet, or if not, if you are comfortable with the paper pen, do it on the paper pen. So when you are practicing, for example, a chapter, let me take an example like cell, right? For example, you are practicing about cell, the unit of life, right? So you need to know that NTA from 2013 to 2021, how many questions NTA asked from this particular topic, That means how many questions were asked from a prokaryotic cell, how many questions were asked from the cell theory, how many questions were asked from the cell membrane, cell wall, mitochondria, endoplasmic reticulum, nucleus, right? So you got to have this idea. So if you won't do it regularly when you are practicing chapter-wise PYQ, you might have to do it in the end. So it's better do it regularly and keep a check on that from this particular chapter, this particular topic is far more important, right? So when you're going to maintain that stats, you will come to know that yes, in this particular chapter, cell, the unit of life, these topics are hot topics. These are very important topics from which NTA is regularly asking question and might ask question in the coming NEET 2022. So you got to know in each and every chapter which topics are more important with respect to your NEET exam and which holds a less importance or less priority. Why you need to do that, right? So my dear students, whenever in the end you got to revise, like there is 1 month left in the NEET exam or 2 weeks left in the NEET exam, there the most important and crucial thing is the revision, right? So at that time, you should know exactly what you should revise. For example, you have 1 month time, you should know in each and every chapter which topic is more important. So you should, rather going chapter wise, you can also go topic wise. So you can choose the topics you will going to revise for the first. Now if you got a little more time, you can go with the second priority of the topics, then the last. So in this way you will have a strategy, in this way you have a method, you have a good strategy how you can utilize the available time in giving a perfect revision in order to score perfect in the NEET biology 360 out of 360, right? So you need to have that list, that weightage list, that how much weightage NTA is giving to this particular topic in this particular chapter. Next thing is, my dear students, NCRT based MCQ. So after understanding, so PYQs are very important. Do them at the first. सबसे पहले आप PYQs ही करो. Hello मोहित, तो सबसे पहले आपको PYQs ही करने हैं. Okay. So Shashank is saying that, ma'am, I got less marks in biology in weekend exam. Shashank, you got to follow these steps. So I assure you, if you follow these steps, you won't fall again. You will not see this again, like less score in your biology. So what you should do is first practice the PYQs. PYQs will help you in understanding. PYQs will help you in understanding that whether your chapter is prepared or not, whether your concepts are correct or not, whether you are on the right track or not. When you know that yes, my chapter is ready, I understood the concepts, the facts, etc. Now the time has come to practice more. And when it comes to practice more, you should go and do NCRT based MCQs. Why am I emphasizing on NCRT based? Because there are several books available in the market where the MCQs available are based on those NCRTs, those old NCRT which are right now not available, as well as not relevant with your coming NEET examination. So try to practice those MCQ which are based on the latest NCRT textbooks, so that you do not get deviated, you do not practice those irrelevant questions, those irrelevant MCQs which are going to just waste your time and won't help you in elevating your score. So be very selective, be very choosy and smart in picking which book to practice. So choose that one which is very near to the NCRT textbook. Next, exemplar question. Yes, most of you avoid this, but this is very important, students. After covering PYQs, after covering NCRT based MCQs, the next thing that you should do is exemplar questions. Why exemplar question? So students, exemplar question is also, or exemplar book is also provided by NCRT. So technically it is also part of your syllabus. It is not outside your syllabus because the publishing body is same, right? So these are the questions that NCRT itself publishes or provides you for better understanding, right? It has MCQ questions as well as it has subjective questions. So if you are unable to do subjective questions, you might avoid them, but if you find time, do them. They are really very interesting, right? But if you do not have time, avoid them, but at least do the MCQ questions. Do all the MCQ questions. Generally there are 10 questions if a chapter is small, but if a chapter is long, you can get 20 and in some cases even 25 questions, but on average it is like 15 to 20 questions you will get in each chapter. It is not a big number, right? So exemplar questions are important, students, because in exemplar question there are some really very interesting questions that actually checks your knowledge. It actually makes you realize whether you understood the concept in real sense or you are still mugging up. So whenever you solve these exemplar questions, you come to know whether your concepts are clear or not. So another check, the first level check whether you understood the lecture and concept is the PYQ, and the another check that helps you to understand whether you understood the lecture, whether you understood the concept in real sense or not, or are you still mugging it up somewhere or the other. Exemplar question will give you a nice check. It will give you a clear picture. So you will not only find it interesting, but it will also help you in solving or understanding the concept where you thought you might know, but you do not know in the real sense. And not to forget, students, NTA might use these questions either directly or indirectly. They may make questions inspired from these exemplar questions, or may use them as one of the options. Right? So NTA is smart, they can use it. So you got to practice exemplar question. And the last one is giving regular mock test. Giving regular mock test is again a part of your revision. And as I told you, students, revision is not something that you got to do in the end when your exam is approaching. It is a continuous process. You got to do it. during the whole course of your preparation. You got to do it, you got to do it, you got to do it. So attending the regular mock test. So whenever you will attend the regular mock test, it can be a chapter based or a 2-chapter or a 3-chapter test. So again and again, what are you doing? You are revising the class notes, you are revising your self notes, you are revising the questions that you have practiced, etc. So what is this? Giving a regular mock test is a best way to keep on revising what you have already learned, right? So I hope my kids, this much is pretty clear to all of you. Now we are good to start with the 4th step. The 4th step is the self-note step. Let me read out what Rohit is saying. Yeah, that's something nice. You can learn this. You can take this advice from Rohit Shashank. Try this out. This is going to be good exercise. Thank you, Rohit, for letting other students also know your strategy to score 340. Right? Chali, hello Kitty. Hi. Okay, so the 4th step is making the self-note. Yes, very important. You might find it a little fancy if you are not aware about it. And if you do not understand the difference between a self-note and a class note. Okay, good evening, Kitty. And it is present on the 4th number. That means definitely you got to do it on the 4th place. That means after attending the class, making the class notes, reading the NCRT, and after practicing the questions. The 4th step you got to do is, after completing step 1, step 2, step 3, nicely, thoroughly, without fail, you got to do 1, 2 and 3, then come to the self-note section. Why self-note? Yeah, so let us try to understand what is self-notes, or short notes also you can say. These self-notes are actually the short notes, and they are actually your own short notes. The self-notes are actually your own. The self-notes are actually your own short notes. So why do I mean when I say your own short notes? Let us focus on short notes first, and then I will talk on this own. So see students, till now what you have done, till now you have taken the class, you have taken the class notes, copied in your own way what teacher taught in the class, you read the NCRT. You might find some of the other words or concepts where you find it really interesting and a little different how it is written in NCRT and little different how your teacher has explained, and you want to remember it, right? So you will highlight it. Then you have practiced PYQs, you have practiced NCRT based questions, MCQs, you have practiced exemplar, and you have also given your mock test, right? So enough, like roughly 200 to 300 questions you have practiced on a particular chapter till now from various other sources, like different sources, all of different levels. Very important one, right? Now the time comes to accumulate everything in a short way. You got to accumulate it, you got to concise it, you got to make it less so that you can read it in a less time. Yes, this is what a short note is. So whatever the teacher has taught, whatever the teacher has explained, whatever you have noted down, and whatever you have read in the NCRT, whatever you have practiced, you got to make a gist out of that. You need to concise it, you need to reduce it, right students? So अक्सर होता क्या है students, कई बार, many a times, whatever you learn, you hear, you retain it for a very longer period of time. So most of it you retain it, but there are some important lines, important words, important keywords, important concepts that you might forget every time, and you need a revision, right? So make a short note of each and every chapter where you will highlight all the important keywords, all the important concepts, and in fact the important lines of NCRT which you find complicated and you need to remember it, right? So, and also whenever you are practicing these things, right, remember you were practicing all these things, remember roughly 200, 300 and sometimes when the chapter is big, you practice 500 questions for one chapter. Now students, similarly you're going to practice like 2000 to 3000 questions for the entire biology, minimum for the entire biology. But how will you feel that you have practiced a lot, 2000 to 3000, but when it comes to exam you are unable to revise them? So practicing such 2000 to 3000 questions will hold no meaning if you are unable to revise what you have practiced. Right? So it is very important that you should be able to revise what you practice. So for example, if it is a chapter like anatomy in flowering plant and you practice some 300 questions, and out of 300 questions there were 275 questions that you got correct in the first go, that means they are very simple question. That means these simple question you can attempt any time, but just give a glance to the chapter or the notes, your self note or your class notes. But these remaining 25 questions, you did not read it correctly, or there was something that you were not clear about, or you made mistake, right? So make a note, make a short note, make a gist. So whatever mistake you did in those 25 questions, try to accumulate that whole information in a bit or a piece of a paper and keep it aside, and include all these important points that you come across, or the conclusion that you made after practicing these questions, after reading NCERT, and sometimes even you read reference book specifically in some topics. Do not make it a habit to do in every chapter, do it topic wise. Whenever you find it difficult, give a reference reading to it as well, right? So after practicing, after reading, after taking the class, you got to accumulate what you might forget, right? So you need to make your short notes, you need to accumulate all that you have revised, all that you have learned and practiced in 1, 2, 3 or maximum 4 or 5 pages depending on the length of the chapter, to try to accumulate it. So remember, when I am teaching in the class or any other teacher is teaching in the class, the chapter generally get completed in 15 pages or 10 pages, right? But you need to accumulate all that you have learned, not only in the class but also from the practice, also from the NCERT, also from the reference book in 2 or 3 pages. Yes, that's the power of the short notes. You are converting the 15 chapter information as well as the 500 questions that you practice as well as the NCERT text of 10 to 15 pages in just 3 pages. You need to concise it, because these short notes will become a very important tool in the end when the exams will approach, when you got to revise, right? So revising 15 pages will take a far more time than revising just 2 or 3 pages. And that is also a gist. That is not just the pages, the class notes. This just 3 pages includes the gist of the practice also, the gist of the 500 questions, gist of NCERT as well. So that's the power of short notes, my kids. You need to make short notes of every chapter. Now, how to make short notes, I have already made a lecture on it, right? So I request you, go to Infinity Learn a YouTube channel, go on botany playlist and check out. You will get, in the starting only, you will get the title, the thumbnail where it will be written how to make short notes, right? So do consider visiting that video where I have actually explained the technique by which you can create short notes in biology. So right now I will give you the techniques, but I won't be able to elaborate them or explain them how to use it. Okay, so you can either use thread notes or you can make thread notes. Thread notes means, for example, when a chapter is very conceptual and where the diagrams are very less. The diagrams are very less. For example, like cell. In cell, you get a lot of diagrams. You have a separate diagram for nucleus, for prokaryotic cell, for eukaryotic cell, for mitochondria, for chloroplast. You have diagrams. So there, a chapter like cell, the unit of life, like cell division, you have brilliant diagrams. You can make diagram-based notes. So what you can do is extract everything that is written in that particular para, whatever the teacher has taught, whatever you have practiced, extract everything and try to accumulate or put in a particular diagram. So for example, whatever you read or understood or practiced about a prokaryotic cell, all that information you should be able to put into a diagram of a prokaryotic cell using the keywords. So in this way, you will concise a lot content, a lot of text into just a half-page diagram, right? This is a very smart work, and I have explained very in detail how to do it in that lecture. Now, and if a chapter is not involving lot of images, if there are really not lot of images in a particular chapter, then what you can do is you can go with the thread notes. For example, living world, for example, biological classification, right? Although there are images, but not as much as they are in cell division and cell the unit of life. So when a chapter is having less of images, less of pictorial images, representative diagrams, right? You can go with the thread notes, right? For example, you can start writing like living world, then you can start writing that what are the properties of living organism, then you can split into 3, 4, 5 like growth, reproduction. Similarly, you are smart enough to understand how to make thread notes, right? And you can go diagram. For example, anatomy, it is a very beautiful and conceptual chapter. You can summarize all the concept within the diagram itself, right? And you can also use the flashcards. You can also use flashcard, my kids. So what are flashcards? For example, you generally forget a term or a concept or examples of a particular, like for example, what kind of vascular bundles are there in dicot root or dicot stem, monocot root, monocot stem, or some examples of plant kingdom, some examples of animal kingdom. So when there is something that you need to revise again and again, you got to go through it again and again, you can use the technique of flashcard. This is very effective, right? So these are few examples I have given in which using them you can create your short notes, but they are very, very important, students. I would love to repeat, whenever the exam will approach, these short notes, and especially the weightage. You remember I told you, whenever you are practicing PYQs of a particular chapter, make a separate list that which topic in which chapter holds what weightage as far as your NEET exam is concerned. So whenever the exam will approach, you got to use two things. For example, a 2-month time is left in your NEET examination. So right now you should start revising your short notes, because if you consider class note, your class notes must be of 4 to 5 chapters. In just biology, you have physics also, chemistry also, like minimum 12 to 15 registers. You cannot revise that you have actually made and studied, understood in a 2-year span. It is not possible to revise in just 2 months. The best way is convert your class notes into short notes where you can concise the data. Or for example, if for biology it took 5 registers, you can concise it in a half register, or at max 1 or 1.5 register. So revising 1.5 register is still far more easy and possible in a span of a month or 2, right? So try to understand this. So whenever the exam will approach, the short notes will be one of your most important tool, and the chapter wise weightage. So how do you use it? Very simple, students. For example, you have 2 months time. So start with those chapters, or you can be again selective, start with those topics that holds maximum priority. That means NTA from 2013 to 2021 has asked maximum questions. For example, I can tell you like chapter number 2 of your 12th class NCRT biology textbook, the sexual reproduction in flowering plant. The topic pre-fertilization structures, where it talks about stamen as well as of the pistil, right? So that entire topic, like more than 40 questions from 2013 to 2021 has been asked by NTA. So that proves that how important the topic is, and this is the topic from which you should start your revision. So when you have less time, you have a month time, you have 2 weeks time, you have 1 week time, you should know that which topic you should start revising first, and if you are left out with a little more time, then you can start with the second priority topics as well. But start your revision with the first priority topics. But how will you know until and unless you make your own list? So make your list while practicing your PYQ, that which topics in which chapter holds more priority, and start revising them with the help of your short notes, right? So I hope, students, this much is crystal clear to all of you. Yeah, it depends upon you how you want to make it. Next, So this is the fifth and this is the last point, my kids, this is the last step rather, I should say, that you got to make. Very important. And this is the point, Rohit. This is the point, and all my other students, this is the point that will help you. Hello, Kirtana. This is a point that will help you in bridging that gap of 340 to 360. So most of you students, so getting 340, getting 320, 330, 340, if you are a serious student, if you are serious about your study, you are a dedicated one, you can get that, right, by rigorous practice, right, continuous practice session. But if you follow perfect strategy, perfect revision strategy, perfect study strategy, these 5 simple steps also in the given particular fashion, in the given particular order, if you follow, I can assure you, I can guarantee you, you can bridge this gap. You can reach from 320 to 360, 330 to 360 or 340 in your case, Rohit, to 360. This is a very important thing, very, very important thing. Make note of your mistakes. Make note of your mistakes. So, dhyan se sunna students, you sit in a mock test, right? Mock tests are generally what they are designed in such a way, in such a fashion that they become a replica of your coming NEET examination, right? And even on our platform of Infinity Learn, we provide several mock tests, right, students? So if you are not aware, I request you go check out our website and see the mock test, the exams, the replica of the NEET exam that we provide, the NEET papers we provide over there, and you can feel free to apply the code Kiran40. Apply the code Kiran, space is less over here, you can apply the code Kiran40 and get a straight 40% off on whatever product you purchase on Infinity Learn website. So check out the mock test, check out the courses that we offer there. So coming to the mistake, students, so whenever you sit for a mock test, you make some mistakes. For example, 4 questions you got it incorrect in biology. Now what do you do of those 4 questions? You just feel sad. Oh, I lost 4 questions. I lost 20 marks. I could have got it. I should not have done like this, that, this, that. So you waste a lot of energy in thinking that you did not get 360. But do you really invest that what mistake you do, and do you really assure that in the next exam, if these questions, these 4 questions get repeated, I am going to make sure that I am not going to get them wrong ever, either in the coming mock test, coming in any mock test, or even in your NEET exam. So when you are sure, when you make a note of your mistake, then you reach a level where you are actually moving far, like very close near to 360 score, right? You got to be dedicated, you got to be serious, you got to follow the 4 steps, and finally you got to, on the 5th step, you got to make note of your mistakes. You got to make it, students. Until and unless you make a note of your mistake, there is a probability, there is a chance you might repeat it again. So it's my kind request, students, make a separate copy. Make a separate copy, right, where you should note that in this particular mock test number 1, these questions I did wrong. You don't have to write the entire question, just write the gist of the question, what mistake you did and what you were supposed to understand, or what was wrong, or you forget it, or exactly in a line or a 2, try to concise your mistake, right? So similarly, you do it for biology, do it for physics, do it for chemistry. It is equally important and applicable for every subject, right? So it's my kind request, students, make a separate copy for all the mock tests that you give, and make a note that in particular mock test number 1, these are the questions that I got it wrong and these are the right answers, right? Similarly, for mock test 2, 3, and for example, before sitting in the NEET exam, final NEET examination, you have appeared in 50 mock tests. So you need to have a data of 50 mock tests where, in which question, in which chapter, in which topic you made a mistake. So just before entering your, just before giving your exam, a day or a week before, go through those mistakes, because not to forget, students, these mock tests are designed in such a way that they are they replicate, they show you how the questions will be in your coming NEET examination. So there's a high chance that whatever question that were asked in mock test, they can be similar to them, and maybe in maximum time exact questions can come in your NEET exam. So the mistakes that you did in these mock tests, it is quite easy and quite possible that you might make it again. And how will you feel? Do you want to feel this feeling again that yeah, I should have read it, I could have got 360, if I paid attention in that particular mock test, if I would have paid attention, if I would have made a note out of it, I would not lose it here. So I don't want you to develop that guilt over inside you, right? So in your NEET examination, you might also come across through certain question that you will say, yes, this question was asked in this particular mock test and I hit that wrong, and shit man, I did not read the key, I did not know the answer, I did not pay attention, I was just weeping, I was just crying, I was just sad, and I did not pay attention in finding out what the correct answer was. And see, the same question has come in the exam. Now what should I do? So there are two options, either avoid the question or be in the guilt, and maximum student will be in the guilt and mark 2 other questions also negative. So the best thing is make a note of your mistake and revise it. And it's a good habit, revise it continuously just before giving. So this particular chapter test, you are giving it again, just revise the mistake you did in this particular mock test earlier. So make it a habit, make it a note of the mistakes you do, only then you will be able to eliminate it and get your score towards the perfect 360. So Rohit is saying, yeah, so Rohit in 11th, okay. Yes, you got to do it. You got to do it in physics, chemistry, biology, equally important. Next thing. So these were the 5 notes, these were the 5 things that I have already explained you. Now, please remember students, following these 5 steps. So till now, I explained you the 5 simple steps, the 5 easy steps through which you can get this perfect 360 out of 360 score. Correct? Very simple. Very, very, very simple. What you need to understand is what are the steps, what you got to do, and in what sequence you got to follow them. So these were the 2 things that I promised and I have covered. So what are the steps, what you got to do, and how you got to do in what particular sequence, what is the correct sequence to do that. Now in the end, I would love to conclude the session by saying that nothing comes for free. Yes, nothing comes for free. Say it, you are learning a sport, you want to master, for example, football, you want to master music, you want to master writing a book, or you want to crack NEET, or you want to secure 360 out of 360. Everything is going to have some cost, right? So nothing comes for free, and if you want the 360 out of 360, this perfect score, develop these 4 habits in you. Very, very important. So other than practicing following these 5 steps from your heart, like core from your heart, other than that, you got to develop these few very important habits. First, you need to be determined. I will secure 360. I want to secure and I will secure. Determination, dedication. Now just deciding is not enough. You got to dedicate yourself. You got to follow those 5 steps again and again for every chapter, for all the 38 chapters. You got to follow it thoroughly. You can't miss any step. If you miss any step for any chapter, you will lose. You will get deviated from your 360 out of 360 score. Willpower. That yes, I can do it and I will do it. That willpower is very important. And in the last, self-belief. Do not doubt on your abilities. Be mentally prepared. Try to train your mind that 360 is a big thing, but it's not a rocket science thing. It is attainable. It is achievable. Many students have attained. Why can't I attain? Yes, I can attain and I will obtain. have a self-belief, believe on yourself, believe on your ability, and follow these 5 steps perfectly. So that's all, my kids, I wanted to explain in this session. Thank you very, very much for joining this class. Now, one more important thing I want to share with all of you, and that is, I request you all, okay, yeah, so what I want to say is, go to this. So whenever you want to see my lecture, definitely you click over here. But the next thing, I request you all to go and click on this show more option. That means check out the description box of the lecture as well. And there you can find very useful links in the description box of each and every lecture that are published on Infinity Learn YouTube channel. For example, the first one, if you are interested in the repeater course, if you are interested in buying a course on Infinity Learn, do consider clicking on this course, and you can get it at straight 40% off by definitely applying the code Kiran40, by applying the code Kiran40, Kiran 40. Next, if you want to check out the other lectures that I have provided or Suchita ma'am has provided in botany section, you can check out the botany section playlist. This is the link to botany section playlist. This is the link to botany. Yeah, so as I clicked it and it opened. Okay, so you can check out this. You can click on this link to check out the botany lectures that we have given under Chakde series. Similarly, you can see all the lectures in this playlist. Similarly, if you want tips and tricks for NEET, click on this NEET Botany. So till now, other than Chakde series, what all botany chapters or what all lectures on botany we have taken, you can find on by clicking on this link. Similarly for zoology, physics, chemistry. Also students, if you go down, you can find, yes, if you click on this link, you can get latest updates on what lectures will be published in the coming time. You can click on this. I request you to join Infinity Learn Telegram channel, where whatever we teach will be given, will be provided in PDF form, and this is something in maximum students are interested in. So do consider joining the Telegram channel by clicking on this link. Next students, you can follow us on social media as well. You can click on this link to join the Telegram, the official Telegram channel of Infinity Learn. Then you can follow us on Facebook by clicking on this link. Similarly, if you are interested in getting your doubt solved instantaneously, you can click on this link and you can download the Doubts app, the official Doubts app from Infinity Learn, and get your doubt solved instantaneously from our expert faculty. Okay, to know more about NEET, you can click on this one, and like this, yes. So do consider going through this description box also in each and every lecture. So that's all students from this class, and I really hope everybody enjoyed this session. Thank you very much for joining my class. That's all from this class, my students.